may begin.
All right. Thank you for inviting me to speak to everyone tonight. I always enjoy anytime I get to speak with any function, any topic at the church that I can always add to and uplift. I'm always happy to be asked to do that. Um, yeah, just my name is Jody Voice Yellowfish. As the chair of MMIW Texas, there are a lot of intersections within the work that we do regarding missing and murdered people. Um, our work isn't just women and two-spirit people. If the need arises for our male relatives as well, we do that work as well. And within these intersections that I speak of, trafficking comes up a lot. Understanding trafficking. Um, and one thing that MMIW Texas that we really want to make sure that people understand is that as a group, we recognize and acknowledge that um, work surrounding human trafficking should be led by survivors. That's a really big issue right now, and understanding the needs and how to combat the issue, this crisis, is that oftentimes the lived experience and the expertise that comes with that is often ignored. Um, and there are a lot of there are, I don't want to say a lot of, but there are quite a few survivors that are deep in this work trying to combat this. And we've made an effort as an organization to make sure that we're connected with survivors when the need arises, so that we can understand as well as possible. And MMIW Texas, we hosted um, a trafficking survivor. When we always try to uplift her and use her knowledge to the best of our abilities. Her name is Christine Beasley. She's from the Osage Nation. She helped us, and she led a discussion just over online safety. And we felt that was a very important thing, as everything is virtual now. School, work, gathering, church, everything is virtual now, and that opens us up to a lot of unsavory activity. There are predators at every turn. um, but that's just something we want to make sure that we share, that where we've gained some of our knowledge. And um, I've actually gone back. I shared her discussion in the MMIW Facebook page, so that people could listen to it, and hopefully and some of the folks that are here have been able to look at it. But that's where some of the majority of the information that I'll be sharing tonight is from Christine, or that directly from that discussion. Um, but I guess to kind of begin, um, human trafficking, as it is in our society today has a lot of misconceptions. There's a lot of different campaigns surrounding fighting for justice, or fighting for um, retrieving and finding people, such as everywhere you turn. For a while it seemed like the hashtag save our children was everywhere. And as the awareness can be good, it comes with a lot of not so good things, like a lot of confusion on what trafficking is. um, with with that campaign and that hashtag going around, there were a lot of stories and a lot of posts on social media that were like, I saw a van, there was a van in this parking lot, there's this, and that's not necessarily the case when it comes to trafficking. Less than 4% of all trafficking cases stem from actual abduction, from stranger contact. And the rest are basically from people that know you. That's a lot of how trafficking happens, is people know, sadly to say, it can be a caretaker, it can be a parent, it can be a family member, a close family friend, someone that can gain a lot of trust within your life. So when these campaigns come up of, you know, kind of this boogeyman, you know, story where there's a stranger, there's a van, there's a cold dark basement or trailer somewhere, and that's really not the case. And listening to survivors like Christine, you know, that's how I know that. You know, because we were bombarded with campaigns like that, with like Save the Children and different conspiracy theories surrounding abduction and things like that. But I think that's one of the biggest things I would like for people to understand is um, to kind of be aware of the misconceptions and the truth behind what trafficking is and what it looks like. And um, there, I think the biggest thing I've learned from survivors like Christine is how you're brought into it, and like things to look for. Like with Christine, you know, she shares very openly that she was brought into trafficking by somebody that was married into her family, and that's the case for a lot of cases. We've MMIW Texas, we've actually got or had the opportunity to have human trafficking training, understanding and how to help in the area through the Poema Foundation. And even the stories that the true cases that they've helped in their foundation that they share now, you know, we've learned that grooming is how you get into this life. People, the predators that are involved with trafficking are patient. They're very strategic. There are stories of people having new partners, new boyfriends, new friends, coworkers that become your best friend, become your partner, and there are, you know, the Prince Charming type of story for 6 months to a year, and then it flips, and then you're, you know, this whole time was to get you to be a stream of revenue for them and whoever they're associated with. And that's the harsh reality of it, is how, you know, those stories, those true stories really drive home the fact that we have to be aware of everything around us, aware of everything within our lives and our children's lives and our partners' lives, and even within our work relationships. With the Poema Foundation, one of the stories that they share, and I've gone through several trainings with them, and I've heard this story several times, that single mothers are targeted often. And one of the stories that they share, it's so crazy, is that a mother confided in situations that she was dealing with at home to the principal at her child's school, and that person was a female, ended up getting her into trafficking. And you know, it's these kind of stories that are, they blow your mind, like they can't be real, but that's the harsh reality. Is, you know, there are vultures out there that prey upon vulnerabilities, and that's a part of this whole grooming process. A lot of the victims of trafficking tend to be people of color, people that live in poorer communities, people that live in rural communities, that are often dealing with financial, you know, burdens, you know, things, housing and food instability. These are things that predators look for, because those make you vulnerable, and if they can help you somehow combat these issues in your life, they can gain trust. A lot of the time they come in and they try to fix these situations, and they try to ease these troubles and show you, you know, that they're good people, that they want to help you. And so that this grooming process can take months, and it's always shocking to learn how patient they are. You know, it's very scary to understand how patient they are, and um, how strategic they are, and who they get to know, and how they get to know your family. And you know, anytime I've spoken with survivors or listened to, or how I mentioned we got that training, they always talk about how to be aware of who you invite into your home and into your life, and just to understand those relationships better, to understand when, like, for parents to understand children's relationships with their friends, that you should be aware if they have a new friend that is just brand new out of nowhere, comes from a different school, is a little bit older, or is an adult. These are like just the red flags that should be up, is that why is this older person, or why is somebody not in my children's school or neighborhood wanting to be their friend? Not that it's like a bad thing and you want your children to socialize, but you need to be aware, as they're not thinking of the predatory behavior that's out there. Oftentimes people that are in trafficking are used to groom people, and that's children as well. Children that are in trafficking are tend to be the people that bring in new people. Sometimes once you're brought in and they see things about your personality or the way you are, your age, the way you look, those things are kind of used as bait. If you look very young, maybe you can befriend more high school age people, or just younger adults. Yeah, these things are, trafficking is all about exploitation. Exploitation to stream revenue for an individual or a whole association. It can be a gang, it can be anything. And gangs are very prevalent with trafficking within Indian country. That's coming up more and more, that I'm hearing from people that try to combat this situation. Yeah, just some of the red flags too, like with the friends, is if your children are of dating age, if they're allowed to have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, things to look for are gifts, if they're just showered with gifts. Oftentimes with that age where they're able to have partners, these gifts and that show of care is taken, totally and completely taken as they love me, they care for me, they wouldn't do me wrong, things like that. And when those things go really, really quickly, it's always a red flag. Something that Christine has shared with us, or with through our last discussion, and with me on a separate occasion, is how it shouldn't be shocking to know that trafficking isn't somebody that's taken away forever. She's mentioned how trafficking you can still go to school. They'll still make sure you go to school. They'll until you're of age and they can take you where you're not a runaway anymore. Or in her situation, she mentions how she was trafficked and it was on weekends and vacations. She was taken to places by her this family member. Or she mentions how it shouldn't be shocking that, or it's the norm that people can be trafficked and still be home at the end of the day, to go to bed in their home at night, because groomers and people in this world have that connection. They've built that trust that they can pick you up from home and take you, and you can say this little lie, you're gonna go for a weekend, but they're exploiting every level of that relationship. May it be, it can be and it's not just sex exploitation. It can be labor, it can be for and Christine mentioned how she's I want to say she said like in her early 40s. So technology has changed some, and she was a victim of child pornography, but it was photos. But she said now it's even more dangerous because of the technology we have. Not only technology in the way of connecting with people, but these platforms, they're so easily accessible. And especially now, like during pandemic where everything is virtual, the need for live content is even higher. And that is a huge moneymaker, is live content. People can subscribe, people can pay and have and ask for specific things to be seen. And so, and we've noticed even within like MMIW work, it was kind of like towards the beginning of quarantine, it seemed like people kind of thought that our work must have died down some, but it didn't. It did the exact opposite. Um, People are basically trapped in a lot of situations. When you're quarantined with somebody that's an abuser or things like that, you flee, you run. So the uptick in runaways has been crazy high. It's skyrocketed. Um, I mean, there's some weeks where it seems like I feel like I'm posting new cases every day, or I'm hearing about them in messages, and sometimes we can get them back home, and we're almost uncertain or kind of scared to say, they're safe, or we put that they're located. And I always caution to say that they're safe, just because when it's a runaway and they're young adults or teenagers, I always question what made them run. What were they fleeing? So that's something that dealing with MMIW and trafficking, we need to understand, and how we can gain funding and resources that look at runaways differently, because runaway teens and LGBTQIA youth are targeted. Runaway, I've seen it like predators. They have this radar for runaways. They have this radar for vulnerable people. And those vulnerable people, when you're fleeing a situation, you know, we've been told stories of how, people have been coaxed into doing things for food because they're on the street, because they're starving, or because it's cold and they need a new coat, or they need shoes, they need shelter. These are the people that are preyed upon. And within understanding that, and with understanding trying to combat this crisis, it's really understanding those things that keep you safe on a very general everyday basis: the food security, the housing security, the safety security, feeling that you're accepted within your home. That's why LGBTQ youth are usually targeted, because they do have a lot of not accepted homes or communities. They're dealing with bullying, and these people know how to make you feel comfortable and safe and accepted. And that's a very dangerous situation. Um, but yeah, we've done so much learning about these things in the past year or so. And I kind of feel like, personally, I feel like because of the runaway issue and the youth aspect of it all, understanding how to stay safe virtually, I think is one of the number one things you can do as parents and grandparents and guardians and educators, is understanding. We had the online safety training, and some of the questions before our discussion was like, will there be like a list of apps or sites to stay away from? And I was prepping with Christine, and she was like, I can't give you a list, Jody, because it's all of them. She's like, it's every platform that you use. She's like, every social media platform, every chat app, every texting app. She mentioned gaming, online gaming, and Xbox, and how people are patient. They get paid to be patient and groom these people, that they can sit and play games and get to know your child. They can sit and chat with them on Xbox while they play games, and they can be your friend and chat with somebody that maybe is being bullied and doesn't have friends at school. They're very tactful and strategic in what they do. And Christine was really adamant about letting people know it's not only youth, it's the parents too. She said, she mentioned all the dating apps. All the dating apps are full of people looking for those single parents that are sometimes desperately in need of some kind of connection. And as a parent, there are times when you do just need some adult conversation. You know, your partner's at work, your friends are at work, or you're working, and then it's time to do something else, and you really do forget yourself in that process of raising a family. But a lot of people, they know what groups to join. Um, even she Christine had mentioned, even in trafficking survivor groups, there are predators that come and looking for people to re-traffic, and that's a very real thing. People get re-trafficked because it's just something it's so hard to heal from, and it's kind of a cycle that is extremely hard to get out of. Um, and when she told me that, and when we were taught that through different groups as well, um, then after that, I started noticing how MMIW groups have to be safe. You know, you have a vigil, you should not be surprised that at a memorial or at a vigil, that person's stalker or murderer even is at that event. It happens all the time. And it's not so much, you know, like, and Christine had said this in our discussion, is it's not so much that, you know, we can't be safe anywhere. It's just that we have to be alert. We can't let our guard down. We have to be vigilant about, you learn this, you know, write it down, share it, talk about it with your family, so that it's not a taboo topic, that it's not so much that you're comfortable, but you're not scared of that conversation, because these conversations can keep you safe, can keep your loved ones safe. You know, and in Texas, I feel like we need to have these conversations even more. Texas is the #1 state in the country for trafficking, and that's because of our positioning with ports and borders and so many different states. It's a huge state. It's the distance people travel. It's easy to lose track of people. But that's something I tell everybody. You know, Texas is #1 in the entire country for trafficking. At a MMIW event a couple of years back, there was a person speaking about human trafficking, and they mentioned Dallas, and they said that in Dallas on any given night there is 200 to 300 people trafficked a night, and that can be on so many different levels. They can be abducted, they can be a runaway that's picked up, and you know, it can be the first time somebody is meeting you. There's so many levels to this, but that's the reality, that's a nightly thing in our city. You know, and you know, I learned these things, and you know, these things are in my world and present like daily, and they still shock me every time I hear them, every time I say them. And you know, it's a scary thing, but I think, like how I was saying, if we can just continue those conversations and making it normal to be like, you know, we are, as a community, as a group, as a church, as an organization, that we're going to have these conversations, and we're going to, you know, uplift this campaign during this month. I think it's a great job that this group isn't afraid of having this conversation right now. I think that alone should be applauded, because a lot of places and a lot of groups won't have these conversations. They feel like it's happening over there. You know, it's happening, at the border. It's happening, you know, in Canada, but it's not the case. We're #1, so we need to stay vigilant and stay aware of these things. Stay aware of how you can help, and how, if there's organizations that you can sign up for that have updated information, like the Poema Foundation, they have newsletters constantly and campaigns you can support, and ways that you can spread awareness. Even within a small group like this, like there are newsletters that you can get. Also, you know, we have MMIW Texas, and we do missing persons flyers, but also locally, For the One Foundation is a great organization to follow, because they are active when a missing youth in the area. And they have private investigators, which is key in finding runaways, because you get such a runaround, especially in Dallas. You know, I work on different campaigns for, against police against police brutality and defunding police, things like that, city budget issues. But it's because of these kind of things. It's because of the runaround I see when somebody goes missing. It's because of the calls I've made to that department and the runaround you get and the lies you're told. They have to be missing for 24 hours is a myth. You don't have to be missing for 24 hours. You don't have to be the family to report somebody missing. You can be the last person to see them or the last person to speak to them. There are a lot of misconceptions and a lot of myths that really diminish the time factor. And time is, of the essence when somebody is missing or has run away. There's a lot of things that a private investigator can access information that just a citizen off the street or a family member of somebody can find out. So that's a very good organization to follow and learn from, and really have like in your arsenal, and as our group, we're learning and growing all the time, and we're learning these tricks and these tips and who to connect with, and if ever the need is there, we want to help, and we try our hardest to stay up to date on these things and how to help. And things like creating a flyer, people really jump the gun with flyers and put out their personal information. And that's, when you're in panic and you're in crisis mode, you're not thinking about the repercussions of putting a direct contact to yourself. But MMIW cases, we've seen so many times fake ransom requests. Everyone, even locally, even cases that we've helped, and just, cases that our group was attached to, that over the holidays, we've seen this happening in Oklahoma. And, it's our MMIW cases, they're just skyrocketing right now. It's crazy. A lot of people are saying Montana is, like ground zero for trafficking right now. And that's one of those states, they're near a border. It's a huge state. There's a lot of space to travel. A lot of things can get lost. One thing too I wanted to mention is with American Indians, it's a kind of unique situation with our relationship to casinos. How we have casinos at, everywhere. There's casinos everywhere, and a lot of trafficking and exploitation happens at places where you can bet and make money. So that's something always to stay aware of and stay alert. There's a lot of, if there's any questions too, I'm open for questions too. I don't want to take like just a whole lot of time. I know it was maybe like 20-25 minutes or something like that, but
yes,
yeah,
Jody,
questions.
Hi. Yeah, hi Jody. What can we do as a parent or a grandparent who have children? Do they, okay, this trafficking thing, do they only take children or they take adults as well?
It's everyone. Like I had mentioned, it's vulnerable people, vulnerable people in dealing with instabilities with housing and food and things like that, healthcare. But it is hard to admit and hard to say, but children make more money.
Oh, okay.
Children are targeted more. Single mothers are targeted not only because they can be trafficked and exploited, but their children can too. People are warned, if you're single, you're dating, you have to be aware, you have to be vigilant, you have to, have a true trust, in people, because like I said, these predators are patient and strategic.
Thank you.
Yeah, Jody, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
What is the most expedient way to report suspicious behavior in terms of trafficking? Is it 911 or who do you contact?
In terms of trafficking, you know, because it's hard to say what you see if it's trafficking or not, um, because a lot of what happens within trafficking, it's done in public. You know, it's not this very hush hush. Like I said, it's not the boogeyman in a van that's gonna take you from a parking lot. You know, like I said, it's less than 4% that come from abductions. It's the you know, the things that you see with a child that are out of the norm. You know, that suddenly they're sick or they're tired or they don't want to see this person or they don't want to do this activity anymore. You know, those are the things to look out for. And as far as reporting, um, I don't really hear too much about, you know, reporting trafficking suspicions, but what I would think the first thing to do is be connected with an organization that deals with trafficking, like For the One or Poima, because they would know more of, and they have people within their organization that, because it's all about it has to do so much with the data surrounding things. You know, these you know, trafficking doesn't get as much the funding and the resources to combat it like it needs to because it's such a huge crisis. The numbers that are reported are from people that have been found. So, you know, we're saying 200 to 300 people a night. Those are the people that have been talked to, and, you know, it's not even the ones that haven't been found. So this crisis is astronomical proportions. And, you know, I mean, I would say to report to the police, but I don't even know like a specific department besides, you know, missing people. You know, it's kind of that it's almost like you don't know how to combat it. You know, because, you know, you don't know if a crime has been committed or you don't know if you've seen a crime committed. It's an odd battle in that sense. But I will say, when it comes to like missing persons or runaway reports, you can do those by calling 911. Some people are told, you know, you have to call this certain department or this certain detective, things like that, but 911 is supposed to take your report if that ever comes into play. Um, you know, there's the need for advocates in every community to understand these things, and that's kind of some of what MMIW groups and MMIW Texas try to do is understand these avenues that people don't deal with every day. You know, before doing MMIW work, I would not have known you could call 911, or I wouldn't understand the abundance of trafficking in our state, or the, you know, the shocking amount of ransom requests for MMIW families. There's a lot to these, and it can be overwhelming, but I don't want people to feel like, you know, we should never leave, we should never do this, I can't, you know, trust my child to be here or there, or, you know, we need to protect ourselves in different ways. But I think that the biggest, excuse me, my dog, but I think the number one thing is just to stay aware, stay alert, and not be afraid to ask questions, and you know, not be afraid to know who your family is talking to and who they're playing with, and who, even if it is your adult sibling, you know, if they're dating someone new, it's always a good idea just to meet them and know them and know their name, know their car. Just awareness and vigilance in your everyday life, I think, is the number one thing.